All right, let's talk about a gardening idea that pretty much flips everything we think we know on its head. We're going to move way beyond those perfect-looking, predictable seeds you grab at the store and learn how to create something that is uniquely, powerfully, and most importantly, resiliently yours.
You know this picture, right? I mean, it's straight out of a seed catalog, and it's what so many of us try to achieve in our own gardens. And you get it. There's something really satisfying about that perfect, uniform row. It feels controlled, it feels professional, it feels like success. But here's the big question. That perfection, that beautiful uniformity, it's hiding a secret, a really dangerous one actually. A secret that can wipe out all your hard work in a flash. What happens when the unexpected shows up? And this right here is the critical flaw. When every single plant is basically a genetic twin, they all share the exact same weakness. So if one of them is vulnerable to a specific blight or a new pest, they all are. And all of a sudden, that beautiful row becomes one giant, single point of failure. But what if there was another way to do this? A method that actually embraces variety instead of uniformity, and focuses on strength instead of just predictability. And look, this isn't some newfangled idea. In fact, it's an ancient wisdom that's probably more relevant today than ever before. So, first up, let's really dig into the problem with what most of us are planting. Let's talk about the brittle garden. Because those purebred seeds we buy, well, they're often a lot more fragile than we think. Okay, this chart just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got your purebred seeds. They're genetically identical, and their whole purpose is predictability. But that shared DNA is their biggest weak spot. One bad year, and you could face a total crop failure. Now, on the other side, you have Landrace seeds. They're all about genetic diversity. Their goal isn't looking perfect, it's just pure survival. And because all their strengths are spread out across the group, some of those plants will always find a way to make it through. And that brings us to the hero of this story, the powerful solution to that whole brittle garden problem, the landrace. So what in the world is a landrace? Well, it's not a specific brand name, like a Brandywine tomato. It's a whole population of plants. And the key words here are adapted and local environment. This is a group of plants that has literally evolved generation after generation to be perfectly suited for your dirt, your specific weather, and even your local bugs. You want to know the secret to a landrace's strength? It's simple: genetic diversity. That's its superpower. Think of it like a community where everybody has a different skill. Maybe some plants are a little more drought tolerant, and others are better at fighting off a local fungus. It doesn't matter what challenge the year throws at them, someone in that group has the right tools to handle it. Now, to really embrace this, you've got to unlearn pretty much everything modern gardening has taught you. It takes a total shift in how you think. You have to stop being a plant nurse and start being more like a coach who only lets the absolute star players stay on the team. This quote right here, it's the whole philosophy in a nutshell. If a plant needs you to save it, it doesn't deserve to reproduce. Just think about that for a second. When you run out and spray a sickly plant for pests, you're not just saving that one plant. You're saving its weak genetics. And if you save seeds from that plant, well, you're basically guaranteeing that the next generation will also need you to rescue it. The landrace rule is simple. Let nature pick the winners. Okay, I know this might be sounding a little intense, but you can absolutely create your very own landrace, your own custom-built super survivor vegetable in just 3 years. So let's get into the game plan and see how it works. Here's the whole journey at a glance. Year 1 is what I like to call the great mixer. It's all about creating as much genetic chaos as you can. Year 2 is the test. This is where you let your local environment really challenge these plants. And year 3? That's the reward, where you get to enjoy a plant that is 100% uniquely yours. So in year 1, your job is basically to be a genetic matchmaker. Go out and buy as many different kinds of, let's say, squash as you can find. Plant them all together, nice and close, and just let the bees go to work. They'll be creating thousands of new, unique genetic combinations. At the end of the season, your only job is to pick out the champions, the ones that grew like crazy and tasted amazing, and save their seeds, and only their seeds. Year 2 is where the real magic happens. You plant all those seeds you saved, and now you gotta be the tough coach. Don't pamper them, maybe water a little less, definitely don't spray for bugs. And this part is absolutely crucial. If you see a weak, struggling plant, you have to pull it out before it has a chance to flower. You do not want its weak pollen mixing with your strong survivors. Then, at the end of the season, you do it all over again. Save seeds from only the absolute best of the best.
And by the third year, you're gonna see the payoff. You've literally created a population of plants that is perfectly adapted to your specific microclimate, your soil, your local pests. What you have now is a vegetable that is more resilient, more vigorous, and just plain more at home in your garden than anything you could ever buy in a store. Now look, this is an awesome project for any backyard gardener, for sure. But the implications, the reason this really matters, it's so much bigger than that. This is about building a more resilient food future for all of us. I mean, think about it. With climate change making weather more and more unpredictable, having a crop that can adapt on the fly is a massive advantage. This method gives you true food security. You own your own seeds. You never have to buy them again. And because you're not breeding plants for the ability to be shipped across the country, you get to select for what actually matters to you. Incredible, amazing flavor.
Ultimately, what this comes down to is a fundamental shift in perspective. It's about taking back control from huge corporations and returning gardening to its roots. You know, as a partnership with nature that puts survival and resilience above everything else.
So forget about planting that perfect identical row this year. Instead, think about this. What kind of ultimate survivor could you create? What story of resilience are you gonna write in your own backyard?